Hello everybody, Styx here with the Token Minorities, bringing you another deck on Pokemon TCGO, and today's deck is centered around Giratina EX. I'm sorry for trying to click until I can get it. There we go. TCGO is being weird with how I'm able to click, so for whatever reason I have to click on the middle of switch in order to get Giratina EX to pop up. It took a lot of fiddling with it to try to figure out how to do that. But just a reminder before I get into the deck that if you like this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, maybe subscribe. It helps us out a ton and lets us do more for you guys. Now anyway, like I said, this deck is centered around Giratina EX from Ancient Origins with the Chaos Wheel attack. Renegade Pulse is just kind of a nice check against Megas and make sure that those decks have to have a backup attacker. So Giratina is great in that regard, and Chaos Wheel is even better because it does 100 damage, which is very nice. First of all, I mean, it's kind of expensive, but this deck is designed around actually trying to get a turn 1 Chaos Wheel. I'll get into that in a bit. But anyway, Chaos Wheel, your opponent can't play any Tool, Special Energy, or Stadium cards from his or her hand during the next turn. Now, I know that that sounds kind of like a really specific lock, but especially in today's metagame where a lot of things rely on, like, fighting Fury Belt, or Floatstone, or Muscle Band, or Spirit Link, Chaos Wheel shuts that off completely. Also, Special Energy. Special Energy is everywhere. DCE is literally everywhere. I mean, on the majority of decks that you see, I mean, almost 90% of them run DCE. So Chaos Wheel is great for shutting that down. And also the Stadium, I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but it does kind of help in this deck. That way you can keep your Stadium in play and keep your opponent from getting rid of it. Now, to use Giratina EX, the other cards we are using include 3 Shaman EX for setup. You never want to have all 3, I just like to have 3 because occasionally one gets prized and you don't want to just rely on one setup. 2 Shaman is the absolute most you ever want to have on your bench. You don't want to have 2 even most of the time. Like 3 is just bad. Especially because this deck, your bench piles up very quickly. That's why having Shaman, you really only want to set up once, but if you have to set up twice, then that's okay. That's why I'm running 3. We're also running 2 of the Hydreigon EX. There we go, I was managing to get it. With the Dragon Road ability, if there is any Stadium in play, the retreat cost of each of your Dragon Pokemon in play is 2 less. So that is phenomenal, gives Reshiram especially free treat, and also gives Giratina free treat if you have 2 Hydreigon in play. Hydreigon also has the attack Shred for 80 damage for 3 energy. I mean, it's really not that great, but in a pinch it can do well against Jolteon if your opponent manages to try to lock you down. Shred is not affected by that and can 2-shot the Jolteon if you have... Actually, I think it 2-shots the Jolteon anyway, because I believe Jolteon has 160 HP. We are also running 4 Reshiram because that is the starter that we want in the deck for the Turbo Blaze. Once during your turn, before you attack it, this Pokemon is your active Pokemon. You may attach a Fire Energy card from your hand to one of your Dragon Pokemon. That is the mode of acceleration for Giratina. We want to try to have a Reshiram out and on the bench. That way you can Turbo Blaze, then switch to one on the bench, Turbo Blaze again, and then use one of your switching cards to go into the Giratina, attach a Double Dragon, and attack. As another attacker, just kind of a backup, is Flareon from Generations with the Flash Fire ability. Once during your turn, you may move a Fire Energy from one of your Pokemon to this Pokemon. That is great because Reshiram can only attach to Fire Pokemon. Flareon can just sit there. You can attach one to like a Giratina or a Hydreigon, and then just throw it right onto Flareon with Flash Fire. And it also has the Blaze Ball attack, 50 plus 20 for each Fire Energy attached to this Pokemon. So if you need just one giant attack, Flareon does in a pinch. And we are also using 1 Hoopa because this deck is centered almost completely around EXs and EX attackers. Actually, the main attackers are always EXs, or at least they normally are. Sometimes I have to use Brightwing from Reshiram, but hopefully not. Scoundrel Ring is phenomenal on Hoopa. However, you kind of want to put Hoopa down and then try to bring it up with Super Scoop Up. That way it doesn't take a spot on your bench. Hoopa is really just kind of dead weight in this deck, apart from its amazing ability to get a Shaman, Giratina, and Hydreigon all from one Ultra Ball. As for the items, we have the first of our switching cards in Escape Rope. If I can click on it, there we go. Basically, it's a switch that also disrupts your opponent, so maybe if your opponent has a Shaman on the bench, you can just bring that out and then knock it out with a Fighting Fury Belt boosted Chaos Wheel. It is great for that. 3 Max Elixir, nope, that is a Lysander. Let's see if I can get the, there we go. the Max Elixir, 3 of them to try to get more energy onto our Giratina. That is another mode of acceleration. We are running 3 Super Scoop Up, again, to try to get the Reshirams out of the active, and also to reuse Shaman if we need to, or another Giratina if Giratina is almost damaged to the point of fainting. You can just bring it right back up with Super Scoop Up, and there's also a way to get Hoopa off the field if you don't want it there. 2 switches, I mean, again, because we want to try to get Reshiram, then Giratina active in that order first turn, so that's why we need that. 4 Trainer's Mail to search for trainer cards, 4 Ultra Ball to get everything out. 4 VS Seeker because we love to reuse our our supporters. 1 Giovanni Scheme because sometimes 100 damage just doesn't cut it, or even 120. So Giratina can actually one-shot a Garchomp if you have a Fighting Fury Belt and use Giovanni's Scheme. So that's really just nice for some more damage, and can potentially be used for drawing more cards if you absolutely need to. 1 Judge to disrupt your opponent. 1 Lysander to just bring out something that you want. And this is a card I don't usually run in my decks. Let's see if I can bring it up. Nope, that's Super Scoop Up. Let's see. There we go. Pokemon Center Lady. Heal 60 damage in all special conditions from one of your Pokemon. Normally I don't use it just because I don't like wasting my supporter on healing, but this is great for Giratina. Once you have your opponent locked, your opponent will try to chip away at you, so just heal the Giratina right back up with Pokemon Center Lady, and you will be back kicking. And then 4 Sycamore, guaranteed draw support. 2 Skyfield, you only need to run 2, just because, I mean, Giratina locks your opponent from being able to use stadiums. So once you start Chaos Wheeling, then your Skyfield is in play for the rest of the game, or at least until you stop Chaos Wheeling. And also, you want to run other cards, so that's why Skyfield, you only need to run 2. And Skyfield is the one of choice just because, like I said, your bench does fill up very quickly in this deck, so you want to have as much room as possible. We're running 3 Fighting Fury Belt. I mean, this is great in this deck. Gives Giratina more HP and lets it hit the magic 110 number for knocking out Shamans. 4 Double Dragon, I mean, you want to run the absolute max for Giratina, High Dragon, and Reshiram, and then 8 Fire Energy. I mean, that's really what this deck runs on. That's what the whole strategy is planned around. But anyway, that is the deck, and let's just go ahead and see it in action. Alrighty, we have found one against a Dark Soul MX with a Fighting and Psychic deck, and it looks like my avatar does not exist anymore, meaning that we are going to sit at the screen for a couple seconds while, well, not Showdown. Wow, I don't know where that came from. While TCGO tries to get its act together, and hopefully we don't time out. I mean, TCGO's just been being really, really weird lately. It's not loading, it's having weird clicking screens on the deck manager, as you saw before, but finally we get loaded. I hope we don't time out, because there was a turn where in one of my previous games where I decided to, okay, so we do want to go first. I mean, you don't necessarily mind going second, but you do like that first turn just so you can get a much better likelihood of being able to Chaos Wheel your first turn attacking. But like I was saying, I had a match recently where my opponent's timer was counting down while I had that little Wi-Fi question mark right there, and oh man, we start with a Hoopa. That is horrible. Oh man, that is the last thing, the absolute last thing you want to start with in this deck. Ugh, all of those basic Pokemon, and I start with a Hoopa. I mean, we run so many switching cards that odds are we will be able to get it out, but oh, that is bad. That's really bad. I mean, we do get a Flareon, so I mean, I guess that's something. I'm going to go ahead and go for an Ultra Ball, get rid of a Sycamore and a VS Seeker, just because I'm going to be discarding it anyway. Probably going to grab a Giratina. Do I want to grab a Giratina or a Reshiram? No, I want to grab a Giratina just because I have the Fighting Fury Belt in hand. Let's go ahead and play this down. Go ahead and put the Fighting Fury Belt on Giratina. Put the Fire Energy there. Go for a Sycamore. Okay, we do draw a way to get the Hoopa out of the active. I'm going to go ahead and Max Elixir to see if... Nope, don't get anything. That is very unfortunate. Let's go ahead and play the Reshiram down. Play down the Super Scoop Up. We do get it. We get a Get Hoopa back into our hand. Promote the Giratina. Probably play the High Dragon. And, I mean, Hoopa really doesn't help me this match just because of my abilities are going to be shut down. So that's a little unfortunate there. What I might do, actually what I should have done is You know what? No, I'm fine with that, and I'll just end the turn right there. I'm keeping Hoopa and my Super Scoop Up in hand just in case I draw a Lysander or something. That way I can play out my entire hand. My opponent is probably just going to try to power up his Groudon with just manually. I mean, this is very obviously a Wobbuffet Groudon, Primal Groudon deck with Wobbuffet just waiting to, well, I mean, I guess really just stalling your opponent. You don't want to lock items, well, you don't want to lock your opponent's items, just because that would really be unfortunate. What I can do, actually, is play down the energy on the Giratina, go for a Super Scoop Up. Nope, don't get it, so I'm not gonna... I was considering playing the Hoopa, that way I could get another Giratina, but I figure it's not worth it. I was just going for the Super Scoop Up anyway. Let's go for a Sycamore to draw some more cards. And okay, we are in a pretty solid position-ish. What I can do is go ahead and play the Giratina down, go for the Trainer's Mail, grab a Switch. That's probably, yep, that's what I'm going to do. Go ahead and play another Trainer's Mail, just see if I can get anything. I do get a Giovanni Scheme. I'm going to bring that just in case. Go for an Escape Rope. Just force my opponent to have something. I don't know. Really doesn't matter. Bring out his Landorus, and I think I will just go into my, probably my Reshiram this turn to take a hit, and then I have a Switch in hand for next turn, and I'm just going to end the turn right there, forcing my opponent to have a Switch if he wants to be able to bring his Wobbuffet back in, or just have to retreat. Okay, we do see the Hawlucha, and Hawlucha is the main reason, really, that I'm running Pokemon Center Lady in this deck. I really forget who had this idea. I apologize to whoever had this idea. I forgot. I can't give you credit just because, I mean, I can't remember your name, so, I mean, sorry about that, but this was not necessarily an original idea. Oh, that is amazing. We do see him switch into Wobbuffet. So that means I will be able to get a KO on Wobbuffet this turn. Let's just go ahead and max Elixir. Oh, we do get a Fire Energy. That is great. Put that on another Giratina. Go ahead and play the DC, or not DCE, the Double Dragon. Go for a Switch onto the Giratina. I'm going to go ahead and Giovanni Scheme. Draw until you have 5 cards. I can save the extra 20 damage for later, and then let's just go for a Chaos Wheel, knock out the Wobbuffet, and take our first prize of the game while locking my opponent from Strong Energy. If I can keep him from drawing Strong Energy the entire game, that means he will not be able to one-shot my Giratina EX with, if he just has all regular energy on his Groudon. Well, I mean, if I have a Fighting Fury Bell on my Giratina, that is. So my opponent will get an energy onto the Hawlucha. The joke's on him. I will be able to get the damage right off. I'm just going to attach a Double Dragon to my Giratina, go for a Pokemon Center Lady, heal off all the damage, and continue to lock my opponent with another Chaos Wheel. So this deck is working amazingly right now. My opponent cannot attach Strong Energy. I was just able to heal off with the 1 tech card, and I even get a Hydreigon, meaning that my Giratina will even have free treat if it ultimately comes down to it. So we are pretty much rolling right now. My opponent doesn't seem to have anything. He does get energy retrieval, so that means he will more than likely, okay, so that means he will be able to attack if he wants to, or he can try to power up a Groudon in the back. Either way, I'm just going to continue Chaos Wheeling because, I mean, I need to. I mean, Chaos Wheeling is what this deck is all about. It doesn't Oko a lot of stuff, but it does 2-Ko pretty much everything, particularly if you have a Fighting Fury Belt. My opponent just takes the turn to Primal Revert, I believe. I mean, that's probably, I think that's what it's called right now. But awesome. So I do get a Hydreigon. I'm just going to attach, let's see, what do I have in my hand? What do I have in my discard pile? I don't necessarily want to discard my hand, so I'm kind of waiting until I get a Judge. What I could do is go for a Giovanni Scheme, but then again, I also like to have the VS Seeker too, just in case like I need to get a Sycamore. So what I'm going to do actually is not play anything, just play another Hydreigon down. That way if my opponent, well, I guess I'll have to play the Stadium because I have the Chaos Wheel lock going. And my opponent will probably just try to power up Primal Groudon in the back, let Landorus take all of the hits, and that's... So he's just powering up his regular Groudon, so that is just fine. I'm still waiting on that Skyfield. I don't want to play the Double Dragon, and just in case like he happens to run like an Enhanced Hammer or something like that, I want to be able to immediately go for a Double Dragon onto the Giratina, and I have zero reason to really do anything else right now, so I'm just going to Chaos Wheel. I mean, it's might be not the best idea to sit on my hand like I am doing, but as soon as I get a Sky Field, then I'll start playing stuff out. I just have too many good resources in my hand. Can I pick my prize card, please? I hope TCGO doesn't do the thing where all of a sudden it just like it stalls and then, yep, there we go. Okay, TCGO. I mean, I know that it says that like my Wi-Fi is the one screwing up. I mean, I've had more of a problem with TCGO doing this ever since the update, so this is frustrating. This is very, very frustrating right now. I would like to pick a prize card, please. TCGO, what are you doing? I mean, my opponent's avatar still hasn't loaded. Yeah, 15 seconds remaining. I don't know what is going on right now. TCGO is very much just... but, I mean, you guys see how this deck is supposed to work. You go for Reshiram, turn 1, put it active, attach to Giratina on the bench, and then switch into Giratina for free because of Hydreigon, and go for a Chaos Wheel. So I really don't know what is going on right now. I mean, it's counting us both down simultaneously. So, I mean, that is clearly TCGO glitching right now. I really don't know what to do. This deck is a lot of fun. I really do enjoy it because you are able to attack turn 1, and it also shuts down Night March a lot. So we have 15 seconds remaining. I really hope it doesn't just time us out to where we lose, which may very well be the case. I mean, even though it says it has no connection, I mean, this is just completely TCGO screwing up right now. I apologize for this. But I mean, like, you see how the deck's supposed to work. You lock your opponent from being able to play tools or stadiums or anything like that. We immediately get paired up against something that has, well, I mean, Fighting Stadium would be able to do more damage. The Groudon Spirit Link would be able to allow him to Mega Evolve without ending his turn. The Strong Energy would be able to do more damage to us. So, I mean, the deck is working the way it is supposed to. It's just frustrating right now because, I mean, it was working fine, and then I try to record, and all of a sudden it's just deciding to freeze up and continue counting us both down. I would not be surprised if all of a sudden it just makes me pass like 5 turns in a row because of the, because of the time that has run down. I mean, it is very clearly counting both of us down right now, so I'm not sure what is going on, so I'm just going to pause the video and see what else I can do. Terribly sorry about that. TCGO just decided that I guess things weren't even going to go at all, and yeah, just completely kicked me off. So what I'm going to try to do is get one more match. I'm sorry if the alignment isn't... Let's see if I can fix it. Nope, let's go down. There we go. Okay, there we go. So, oh no, it's happening again. I mean, TCGO is really just kind of screwing the pooch on this one because since the update, there have been so many bugs going on with it that it's kind of unreal at this point. I mean, you saw 2 of them in action already. You saw the one at the deck manager where I had to like click low to get high and stuff like that. But okay, we start with actually a very solid hand. If I can get like a supporter, I mean, I do have a judge, so I guess that's not the end of the world. But what I am probably going to do is, should I play all of them down? You know what? Why not? Let's just go ahead and play them all down. Go for the Hydreigon, Ultra Ball, get rid of I think the Judge in the Sky Field for right now, and grab a Shaman. I'll go ahead and play the Sky Field down, or I can't play the Sky Field down, play the Double Dragon down, that's what I meant. We did get rid of the Sky Field over the Double Dragon, which, I mean, I regret a little bit, but it's not absolutely the end of the world at this point. I do get a Super Scoop Up. Do we get it? Yes, we do get heads, so I can bring the Shaman back into my hand. Let's go ahead and play the Reshiram down. I have not gotten a single supporter yet, so what I think I'm actually going to do is play the Shaman, get some more cards, hopefully, and get a better supporter. I do get a Sky Field, so that's actually just fine. Play down the Hydreigon, go ahead and I think Ultra Ball for nothing just so I can get a lot better draw in my hand. Nope, don't want to get anything. Play the Shaman down. Draw till we have 6 cards in our hand, and I only want to have 5 good things on my bench just because that's all I really need at this point. And then what I can do is go ahead and Turbo Blaze onto the Giratina. I think I can go ahead and retreat into the other Reshiram, go for another Turbo Blaze, and boom, ladies and gentlemen, we have a turn 1. We have a turn 1 Chaos Wheel ready to go. What I'm probably going to do next is go ahead and judge. That way my opponent can't get, hopefully won't get anything particularly good. Maybe just get some Pokemon or something like that. I know he has 4 cards, but he played down his Pokemon, so here's hoping that he really can't get anything else going. And I think I'm just going to, probably Max Elixir. Nope, don't get anything. Not a big deal. And end my turn right there. I want to keep the Fighting Fury Belt just in case my opponent, I don't know, just in case my opponent has a Startling Megaphone in his hand right now so that he cannot use it. Unfortunately, my opponent does get a turn 1 DCE and a Pokemon Fan Club, so if he has a Shaman, yep, he does, we will see him being able to get back a full hand of 6 cards. Well, he'll be able to draw 3. Gotta hope that none of them are good, but then again, I mean, you're not really promised anything. And okay, we're in a very good position. What I can do is go ahead and play the Fighting Fury Belt onto the Giratina, go ahead and Turbo Blaze onto my other Giratina with this Reshiram, play the other Fire Energy on there, go ahead and retreat, and go for a Chaos Wheel to 2-shot the Giratina, lock my opponent from Tools, Special Energy, and Stadiums, and we are in a very solid spot. So my opponent cannot utilize Hypno. I mean, he can put my Giratina to sleep as a kind of stall tactic, but I don't know. I think we are in a very good position right now, and my opponent does have a Sycamore. He even has to discard the All Night Party. That is great. So my opponent will be able to put my Giratina to sleep, but his Darkrai will be asleep too, and he won't be able to wake it back up with All Night Party. So that's pretty solid for us. Oh, my opponent gets a Team Flare Grunt. That is very bad because he will be able to discard my energy next turn, so that's why I have to get another Giratina up in the background. And oh, he even gets a Zero Sick. Ugh, that is gross. Does go for the Good Night Babies. We do not wake up, and he does. That stinks a lot, unless I can get like a Super Scoop Up or something. I do get a Double Dragon Energy. That doesn't do anything for me. What I am just going to do is attach a Fire Energy to a Reshiram just as a backup attacker in case I need to, and I think I'll end the turn right there. Oh, we stay asleep. That is really bad. If my opponent will be able to get rid of our... Oh, he has a Float Stone too. Jeez, that is so frustrating because we didn't keep the Chaos Wheel lock. My opponent got very lucky on the coin flips, and our Giratina might be... No, our Giratina will live with 10, but that is still very frustrating because we might go to sleep. I mean, we might stay asleep, and if we do stay asleep, then Giratina gets knocked out. Luckily, we do wake up, so that is great. I even get a Super Scoop Up, so what I can do is go for that. Get Tails! Oh, we are getting so unlucky right now. And then just going to go for a Chaos Wheel. We will get knocked out next turn, but at least we have a 2-hit KO set up on the Darkrai. I didn't want to play the Double Energy, the Double Dragon Energy, because my opponent will more than likely get a... Well, he has a Zero Sick in his hand, we know that. So I didn't want to play that down so that he could Zero Sick and then discard energy from my... Oh, I guess he put his Zero Sick in the discard pile. So actually what I can do now is go ahead and play this, play the Fighting Fury Belt, and get a clean knockout on the Darkrai. Last turn was, frustrating, but you know what? We still get 2 prizes out of it, and we're in a decent position. We even get another Double Dragon and a Flareon, not the EX I was hoping for. But, you know what? We will live with it, especially because our opponent can now Evil Ball for some pretty solid damage. If he has to have a regular Darkness Energy. Having a DCE won't do anything because we do have the Chaos Wheel lock going right now. My opponent does grab a Skyla. I'm wondering what all he has in his hand. He goes for Team Flare Grunt to get rid of the Double Dragon. That's actually going to reduce the damage that Yveltal is able to do to my Giratina this turn. And oh, we stay asleep again and my opponent wakes up. This is so bad. Oh, this is frustrating. I do get a Sycamore, so I can hope that we get something that we can work with. I do get a switch. What I can do is go ahead and I think switch into... I'm going to go ahead and Flash Fire. Flash Fire with the Flareon, put the energy onto that, go ahead and switch into the Reshiram, go for a Turbo Blaze onto the Flareon. Well, I have to... Oh, that's right, I can't do that. I had to put it on another Dragon type. Let's just go ahead and put it on onto the Hydreigon, and then what I can just do is retreat right back out into my Giratina. Let's see, I can Trainer's Mail, True Grab, probably a Sycamore. Yes. And then what all do I have in my discard pile? I have a Judge and Sycamore, so that is just fine. And then this turn I'm going to go ahead and Chaos Wheel once again. I will probably want to Lysander in the Hypno at some point just because that is very annoying. However, at this point, I'm in a very good position. My opponent will probably just try to continually put me to sleep. Goes for a VS Seeker, probably grabbing, yep, Team Flare Grunt. I do have another Double Dragon in my hand. I'm really hoping we can get the turn 1 Wake on this because, I mean, that's... Nope, stay asleep again, and my opponent wakes up again. He is 3 for 3, and I'm 0 for 3. I'm so very, very frustrated by that. Wow, I'm very frustrated. But what I can do with Flareon is power it up in the background with the Flash Fire. Go ahead and get that from the Hydreigon and just go straight for a Sycamore. Hopefully get something that I can work with. We get a Pokemon Center Lady and a Switch. You know what? A Switch is just fine. Let's just go ahead and switch into the Reshiram. If my opponent puts me to sleep next turn, you know what? I can work with that anyway. Let's go ahead and... Let's go ahead and grab, I think, the Fighting Fury Belt. And then I'm trying to dig for a Lysander. I mean, I know I only run one in the deck, but it might be prized. Let's just go ahead and grab probably the Giovanni Scheme for some extra damage if we need it. And then I can go ahead and Turbo Blaze onto probably a Hydreigon, just cuz. And then I will go ahead and retreat into the Giratina and knock the Yveltal out with a Chaos Wheel. Man, getting that Pokemon Center Lady was very nice because now I have a way of healing my Giratina immediately from the sleep, and we don't have to worry about the flips and stuff like that. My opponent does just switch into his Drowsy. Ugh, that is not good. And VS Seekers probably for a... Okay, just for a Team Flare Grunt again. So my opponent is clearly just trying to wear us down. I think... Okay, so I still have one... Oh, we finally wake up, but it doesn't matter this turn because I finally have everything I need. We have all 4 Dragon Energy are in the discard pile. What I can do is actually go for a Max Elixir, get that, go ahead and put that onto the Flareon, go for a Flash Fire, get an energy from, Hydreigon, screw it. And then what I'm going to go ahead and do is Escape Rope, because then my opponent has to send in his Hypno, otherwise he will automatically lose. And if he doesn't send in his Hypno, oh, that's great, and we can just switch right into our Flareon and go for a Blaze Ball, knock out the Hypno, and take a prize and be 1 turn away from winning. Unfortunately, we do not have a way to get another Double Dragon, but you know what, this is where Flareon shines through. If our opponent manages to get rid of our, if our opponent manages to get rid of all of our Double Dragon energy, Flareon in a pinch can come through and just Blaze Ball for some solid damage. And I can even look through my deck next turn to see if I need to fish for an energy or something, and my opponent does just go for Hypno again. Little does he know that we have a Pokemon Center Lady in hand, and also my opponent went ahead and played the all-night party. So either way, we'd be able to wake up. My opponent gets an energy off of the Max Elixir, which isn't that big of a deal anymore. He really didn't have anything of value prized either, so I think we win. I don't think there's a way we can lose this. I mean, we could time out like we did last battle, but otherwise we're all good. I think we just win next turn. My opponent puts us to sleep. I mean, that's not going to do anything. He's going to... I mean, I can use All Night Party as well, and I can also knock out the Hypno next turn. And I think... Okay, so he's trying to... well, I mean, we even wake up either way, so it doesn't matter. What I am going to do this turn, go for the Fighting Fury Belt, and knock out, go for a Flash Fire, just get some more damage, and knock out the Hypno for the game and the last prize. So Flareon came through in the end. Oh, there's the Lysander. Okay, it was the very last prize card I had. That would have been nice earlier, but I mean, we ended up coming through just because we had enough switching cards in our deck and like super scoop up, switches, escape ropes, all of those, to where it didn't really matter that we got super unlucky. It did matter for one turn, but we still came through. This deck is very, very strong. Even once our opponent got rid of all of our Double Dragon energy, we had a Flareon powered up in the back to win it. So very fun deck. I highly recommend it, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I apologize about the little delay in the second match where all of a sudden TCGO froze up. But nothing I could do about that. I did what I could. I brought you a pretty solid match, or at least I hope you thought it was solid. And yeah, that's the video, guys. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And this is Styx, signing out. Why not? See you guys.